Joining us now, I'm delighted he is with us, Congressman Tom Garrett, Republican from Virginia's 5th Congressional District. He's going to give us the latest because he sits on the all-important House Homeland Security Committee as we see these caravans up and running again with the mass migration from Central America coming into this country because they know they'll be caught and ultimately released. Congressman, I can tell you my listeners are infuriated by this. They want Congress to act. They want these loopholes closed. What can you tell us about what Congress could do in short order to prevent this nonsense from continuing?
Well, every time we pass an omnibus bill or some massive funding stopgap measure, we yank the rug out from underneath the president who wants to keep his promises on securing the border. Your lead-in bumper, where the gentleman, and I use that term loosely, talked about hardliners on immigration is symptomatic of the fact that the left has co-opted the lexicon, changed the meaning of words, and I'd like for somebody to explain to me when defending your national borders and sovereignty became a hardline stance, because essentially what they've done is said if you don't want open borders, then you're mean, and the American voting public needs to think hard enough to understand the very ridiculous underlying assumptions of that. I am all for a robust and healthy legal immigration system, as I think you are, but at what point did securing the borders become controversial? And why is it that Republicans cut the rug out from underneath the president as it relates to keeping his promises on securing our borders? I can't figure it out. And that just
well, let me tell you about something that happened, Congressman. This is very concerning, again, to my listeners and viewers on Fox. This was earlier this year when we had the opportunity to rein in these ever-broadening asylum categories, meaning domestic abuse and fear of gangs have been included in the credible fear categories as affecting social groups in a particular country. So a bad effect on certain social groups. Jeff Sessions comes along as Attorney General and says, no. Domestic abuse and gang membership, that's not part of what constitutes credible fear. Congress, sadly, David Yoder, congressman from Kansas, and a Democrat in North Carolina, both acted to remove that from the ongoing congressional action on this. So that was gutted by Congress. That's the kind of thing that is going to make it more difficult to hold the House of Representatives for Republicans. It's insane that they decided to gut what Jeff Sessions wanted to do there.
Well, look, Kevin Yoder in Kansas has got himself in a tough fight, and Republicans always think that moderating on the message that got him elected in the first place is some sort of magical formula for re-election. I disagree. Dance with the one who brung you. And so you find yourself in a terrible catch-22. Nobody's listening, right? That's a joke. But if we lose the House, maybe we'll actually get up off our butts during the lame duck session and keep some of the promises we made 3 years ago.
Well,
I mean, that's the upside, that the Republicans might act like Republicans.
Well, I think, again, this is the most important issue for most Americans who are answering these polls. Immigration is either number one or number two. And these caravans coming into the country, if Republicans lose the House, it'll get worse. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse.
Except maybe we'll get some courage, right? You see Leader McCarthy now talking about border security, and I'm glad he is, but I mean, why now? I fear that there's a political motivation, which is shameful.
Well, again, I'm not understanding really why Paul Ryan is still in as Speaker of the House. I think if you're going to retire, they think Paul Ryan's going to turn out the voters in 2018. I mean, God bless Paul Ryan. I like him a lot, but you know who's going to turn out the voters? The guy who's flying all over the country right now, Donald Trump. And Congress, I'm telling you, Congress is going to rue the day that they didn't get the money for this wall, they didn't appropriate it, and they didn't change these stupid asylum laws that allow people to be gaming the system and then caught and ultimately released because we do not have the facilities to house them. 700,000 people in an immigration backlog now, court backlog, claiming credible fear and other claims. That's absurd.
Well, and I've prosecuted for the better part of a decade, and domestic violence is a scourge upon any nation, but it's hard to prove domestically. It's real hard to prove when the claim emanates from El Salvador.
Oh, right? That's why they're saying
I can fear alien abduction, but that doesn't mean that it's actually happening.
Yeah. Well, again, I think, and you understand this, Congressman Garrett, but the American people are, like we got cities with homeless villages, tent villages. We got veterans on the street. We have people who never were able to get back on their feet after the Great Recession or are opioid addicted. We need help for those people. We cannot be the saviors of the entire world. We can do our best, but at some point we got to say, we're here to focus on the American people, and I hope that you take this message back to your colleagues in Congress, because I'm telling you, people are alight with rage about this situation. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. We definitely need you on TV soon. We'll take a break. A lot more to get to, including an outspoken advocate against affirmative action. Don't go away.
Fox News at the top and bottom of every hour. This is Northern Nevada's FM News Talk Radio, KKFT.